Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
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 Hello.
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 So
Hey.
should we sit here in silence and mute our phones, our computers?
Yeah,
What do you want?
once we get started, but we can all just chit chat now for start. Where are you guys all coming from? Are you guys
I'm,
from Vancouver
I'm
or
I'm on the Sunshine Coast,
oh yeah, whereabouts?
Roberts
Yeah,
Creek.
and I'm from Coquitlam.
Coquitlam. Okay, yeah. I used
So,
to I used to work up in on the Sunshine Coast. Up in
Yeah, I'm in Roberts Creek.
yeah, I was in Madeira Park. This is up north.
Okay, yeah, I'm doing a renovation out near Half Moon Bay, so I know the whole area well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's only got the one highway, so
That's it. Yeah.
this this the to ferry terminal to ferry terminal. Yeah, I get
So
it.
you're not Graham, are you?
No, I'm Simon.
You're Simon. So you're the founder of VADA.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah. And
fantastic.
Graham is our guy that does all the phones and stuff like that. He answers the phone and everything. So we got a message here from somebody in our chat room.
Himanji.
Oh my God.
Sorry to hear you're sick,
Oh,
Himanji.
Himanji, what happened? You got oh no. Oh no. I hope you feel better. Blue.
sorry.
Just sorry. Just to get to see your picture. That's it. Okay. So we'll start in a few minutes. Yeah, so if you guys, we're gonna do what are we gonna talk about? We're gonna talk about like how to get started, basically.
Starting as an actor, training, and our like your
Pro-
professional package.
Pro package, yeah. Hey, Sky.
Hey.
Yeah, I had an intake meeting with Graham
Oh
about
yeah.
2 weeks ago,
Okay.
and I'm going to do the 2 week intensive.
Oh,
Once
nice.
once I finish this renovation project, I'm going to take the 2 week intensive with you guys, and then do continuing studies after that. So that's coming up soon. Actually, it's
Yeah,
in
yeah.
about
You're
eight
gonna love
weeks, I
it.
guess.
Yeah.
You're gonna love
Yeah.
it. Everybody loves that class. Everybody loves that. It's just I teach it, and it's just like everyone just gets their mind blown every time. I don't mind saying it.
Sure. Yeah,
If you don't believe me, just ask me again.
yeah. And who's sat next to you?
This is Gabby.
Hi, I'm Gabby.
Oh, hi, Gabby.
I'm a registrar and admissions assistant here at VADA. So if you've gotten emails, they're likely from me.
Okay.
Over there from her. She does it. Yeah, over there. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Sky, how you been, man?
Pretty good. Still not back at work, but getting closer. I think
Yeah.
I'm going to be working on a show called Earth Abides,
Okay.
which is it's a post-apocalyptic but without zombies type of show.
Nice.
It shoots for a few months, so yeah, any day now. Hopefully, it's been an entire year, so
Oh, wow.
definitely ready.
You ready to get back at it? Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. For sure. And okay, cool. We'll just start in a couple more minutes here. We'll give everybody like 2 or 3 more minutes and then we'll kind of break it down. Basically, we're gonna kind of chat for about 45 minutes. Well, the work will be about 45 minutes. And then towards the end, we'll kind of wrap it up after, say 30 minutes or 35 minutes or so, and then we'll open the floor to any kind of questions you guys may have. And I'll be happy to answer them. And then if you stick to the end, I have a special announcement that I'm going to announce because nobody knows it's special announcement. Yeah, exactly. Special announcement. So
This
trying
video
to
is in
add an
3D.
effect in here just to keep it entertaining. Yeah.
Thanks
Okay.
for doing this today, you guys. This is great.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. How did your audition go the other day?
I did not hear back, but your help definitely helped me.
Oh yeah, the knife was it was really good. Sky had an audition for a movie of the week, so I helped him with that audition. So I thought
Fantastic.
we were going to get a booking, man, for sure.
I know. But
Yeah,
at least that same production company keeps asking for auditions, so that's a good sign.
that's great. Yeah, that's really good. They're trying to find a role for you. Yeah. Hey, Mike.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, we can hear you. Is that Radden? Listen.
Yes, sir. Greetings and salutations to everyone and everybody. I'm Radin Zari.
Hey, nice to meet you. Where are you from?
Pleased to meet you. I'm Persian.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'm from
welcome.
Iran, yes.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I had a pleasure of meeting Mr. Petri the other month, actually. He was so kind enough to give me a tour. I was actually there for the tour, so he was kind enough to give me beautiful information regarding the magnificent academy you have. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you so
I'm
much.
also an international student here, so I'm studying MBA. And
Nice.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's great.
thank you.
Glad you came to
I'm
visit.
looking forward. Yes, actually looking forward to start a program in the academy.
Yeah, we look forward to having you.
Thank you
That's
so
great
very
to hear.
much, sir. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And Mike, how about you, man? How you been?
I've been good. Just working. So I've been auditioning to student films and stuff, and I did a motion capture yesterday with Motion Capture Studios. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, did you
But-
get to wear the suit with all the dots on it and everything?
No, I just wore a headset, and then I had little things on my wrists and had to do moves and stuff. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Yeah, mocap is really cool. That's cool stuff.
Yeah, I did that, but I'm just doing auditioning for student films and working. I got promoted to a management position at work, so that's messed up my schedule a little bit, but I'm working back towards getting to becoming a working actor like yourself.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's great. That's good. Well, sometimes you got to get that survival job all sorted out and everything, and get ready. Okay. Okay, so you know what? I'm gonna get started here. And so this is Gabby.
Hi, everyone. I'm Gabby.
Hello.
I'm
Greetings.
I'm the
Hello.
registrar here at Vada Studios as well as admissions assistant. And just kind of to start off, during the webinar, we're just going to ask everybody if you could mute yourself and also turn off your camera just so you don't distract everyone else or us. And also, if you have any questions as we're discussing all of these things, please put them in the chat, and then we can answer those at the end. And yeah, so welcome. We are going to be talking today
Thank
a
you.
little bit about essentials to become an actor, particularly focusing on training and your professional package. And I'm here with Simon Longmore. He is the president of Vancouver Academy of Dramatic Arts, Vada Studios. And so we're really happy to have you all here, and I'll pass it along to Simon.
Hey, hi everybody. Thanks for coming. Really appreciate you guys being here. And Gabby's just got a bunch of questions she's just going to ask me, and I'm going to answer all of them. So like I say, if you guys get any questions or anything like that, just put it in the chat, and then we'll get around to those. So we'll do about 35 minutes of chit chat, and then I'll have some Q&A, and again, special announcement at the end. Okay, let's go. Gabby, go.
Awesome. Well, let's get started. So Simon, many people say I'm a natural actor. What are your thoughts on that?
I love that. I'm a natural. So what you mean is like, oh, I'm a natural. I don't need to take classes and stuff like that. Often we get somebody coming in saying, oh, well, I've always been told I'm really funny, or I tell great jokes, or I can really do great impressions and stuff like that. And that's awesome for somebody who has that natural ability and that natural skill. But there's literally no way that they're going to make their way into the movie business without getting some kind of formal training, because as soon as you walk into an audition room and they say, oh yeah, okay, come on in and slate, and you're not totally sure what slating is, your confidence level is just going to go down. And then all of a sudden that confidence is replaced with anxiety, and you're like, oh, I don't even know how to hit the mark, or I don't even know what size the frame is, or how do I even look Why is the person standing beside the camera? Are we supposed to be doing it like side by side, like a scene? You know, and so all of this kind of orientation to how to act on camera needs to happen before you you start auditioning. And it's really rare that anybody would even take you like agent wise if you don't have training. It's, I mean, even if you just have theater training, a lot of times agents won't take you because you won't know how to audition for the camera, which is what we're really looking for. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for developing on that.
Yeah.
Obviously in your time as an actor and, you know, in Vada Studios, you've worked with thousands of people over the years. So how do you get them to overcome their initial fear of performing in front of others?
Oh, right. So the natural, like, oh yeah, the opposite. So the guy that's not the natural, but like somebody who's kind of shy. You know, I find that I do two things is, well, maybe three, is I try to be funny. I know sometimes I'm not, but I'd really try to be funny and just take all the stress out of it, because nobody wants to be in a serious environment, you know, and I find that that's really inhibiting for people. The second thing is I just put everybody on camera right away. Not just one person, but all of you. You're all on camera right away from the beginning. And after about 2, 3, 4 classes, you realize, oh man, like, you know, everybody's going through this. And, you know, we really don't need to be all stressed out about it. It's just a simple acting class. And once people kind of all go through that together, it kind of lowers their stress level and their shyness. And then ultimately, I tell them, hey, you know, just be a student. Just like, don't come here with some kind of expectation that, oh, I'm going to come and I'm just going to like totally blow the coach away and I'm going to rock this class. No, just come and just be like, I'm just a student. I don't know what to expect. I'm just here because, you know, being the student is very vulnerable. You're the one getting up in front of the class. You're the one that's like on the mark. You're the one that's being recorded. You're the one having to see all the playback and get the notes. So most people don't have the courage to do that. So I really take pride in my work with people who do that. I really respect that and revere that. So, and I think that people really kind of respond really well to it. And that's, you know, kind of how I do it. I just kind of use a lot of humor and I just kind of we just push you in the deep end and just have fun.
Awesome. Yeah, I can vouch for that.
Okay.
At what point can a person say, I'm an actor?
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, some people say, oh, it's when you book your first thing, or it's your birth, this or that. And I think that, you know, to be considered a professional, you need headshots, a talent agent, and you need to be actively auditioning. You're an actor at that point. But long before that point comes, you have to be at home or in your car or you're by yourself and you have this thought where you're like, hey, I really want to be an actor. And that's when you decide. That's when you are an actor. It's not when, you know, the results have occurred. It's at that moment where you decide, hey, I'm an actor. And then you're like, great. So you go along the path. Same thing if I decided to be a mechanic. I would be like, oh, first I'd have to decide to be a mechanic and then have to go find some cars and some tools and I'd have to kind of work on them and I'd have to repair them. You know, you're not only a mechanic once you've rebuilt an engine or you've done this or that. It's, you know, I'm an actor. I take classes. I go to auditions. I'm actively pursuing employment. You're an actor at that point, but actually it's when you made the decision. That's the most important part.
Awesome. And after establishing an initial foundation of on-camera acting skill, how important is ongoing training?
Oh yeah, you have to keep going it all the time. It's just, you know, if I was to say, like make a comparable to say something like a martial art or something, and oh yeah, you know, I took 6 months worth of boxing classes and I'm ready for my first fight. No, I think that, yeah, that may be true, and you may be a natural athlete and you may have some skills developed in those 6 months, but it would almost be foolish to think, oh, I don't ever have to train ever again, or I don't ever have to kind of take a class, or I don't have to study with somebody ever again. I think that would be kind of foolish to say that, because in boxing, you'd always be learning and seeing how things change and how do you develop the defense for this or the offense for that. And the same thing comes with acting. You're like, I was just teaching the scene study class last week, and we were working around entrances and exits. And some of the scene partners were like, oh gosh, how do I get this line out? But I'm supposed to leave, but I can't because I still have another line and there's nothing kind of holding me back. And it just made the scene really awkward. And so we had to kind of flesh that out. We had to kind of go discover what was the reason why that actor hadn't left yet. And, you know, that kind of stuff is commonplace because, you know, how many times do you have a scene that has an entrance or an exit in it? Like every scene study class, there's somebody coming in or out of the scene. And so you have to have that put in there. And if you don't, you know, it's just really, you know, you can't have all the answers in just a short amount of time. You got to keep going, you got to keep training, and you got to just keep that passion alive. That's the most important thing.
Awesome. We have been talking quite a bit about training. So after, you know, everyone doing all of this training, when does an actor know they're ready to start pursuing agency representation?
Okay, so in my mind, I think that you should start getting an agent right away. Even, you know, because, you know, you have this thing in your mind like, okay, I'll be ready for an agent at this point. And that point is sometimes something that always moves further and further and further away, because we all have this, it's a perfectionist syndrome. You're like, oh, well, you know, I got to get at least, you know, something on my resume. And then that start line gets moved for, oh, well, I need new headshots, you know, and then that gets further away. And then, oh, I need to do, and there's always something kind of stopping you. So my thoughts are, if you don't have an agent now, but you have your headshots and your pro package, basically, send it out now. Because if you don't have an agent and you send it out, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? Nothing, right? So you have nothing now, so you might as well, you know, start pursuing it. And if you wait a couple months or whatever and say, okay, now I got some more classes and I got some more skills and I got another demo reel, I got another tape done, I got some, you know, I got a booking on a short film. Okay, I'm going to resubmit. And the thing is, we don't know what's happening in that agent's world. What the demands of the market are always waxing and waning and kind of like, oh, sometimes they want young people, or sometimes they want pretty people, or sometimes they want character actors because of the shows that are being cast in the city. So they're always, you know, things are always ebbing and flowing and waxing and waning, and you don't know when's the right time. It's just, you don't know. And so just doing it and sending it out. And the thing is, those agents see your material and they see, if they send out the same thing over and over again, it gets kind of a little repetitious. But if they see that you've taken another class and you've got another booking and you've got this other stuff in there, they're going to be like, oh, wow, this guy is still really pursuing this. This is great. So I think that you should just start right away. And you just got to start. And I think starting is the most important thing. And then, you know, because you don't want to ever wait, you know, then all of a sudden a year went by and, you know, you could have had somebody at that time and you maybe just gone out for commercials, but you could have booked a commercial in that year and just think how great you would have felt about it. But if you're always waiting and waiting, so I'm always a big supporter of start now, just get started, see what happens.
Awesome. So we've talked about, you know, when to start pursuing agency representation. What does an actor need to prepare to apply to an agent?
Okay, so there's a couple things. You need headshots, and you need professional headshots, and you need a cover letter, you need a resume, and you need a demo reel. So those four things, headshots, resume, cover letter, demo reel.
And does your school assist new actors in the process of getting an agent? And
Yeah,
how do you do that?
that's our thing. That's our jam. That's our mojo. That's what we do. We like literally like okay, so if you're where you are in the world and you're like, the single biggest obstacle that you're going to overcome is getting the talent agent, because so many people stop at that obstacle. So when I went to theater school, you know, when I graduated, they're like, get an agent. You're like, but where? I don't even know where to get headshots and how much they would cost. I just didn't even know any of that. And so we help with that. We help you find your type for your headshot and which photographers you should go to and what your budget is and a bunch of all these other things. And then we help you create your proper resume so that's in the right format so that, you know, and it's not your workaday world resume, it's your acting resume. So you have that set up. And then your cover letter, you know, we've all gotten those emails that are like this long. No one wants that. You know, what is the acronym
TDLR.
yeah, too long, didn't read, whatever that is. But nobody wants to get a big email like that, especially from some actor, you know, so just keep it short, charming, those things. And then of course we help with demo reels as well. And so once you have that, you can start just submitting that. You know, there's like, I don't know how many agencies there are in town, but there's got to be at least 75. And out of those 75 agents, some of them are really big and have 10 agents within the agency. So, hey, man, let's get after it. Like, take the shot. Do you know what I mean? What does Gretzky say? You miss 100
shots you don't take.
Yeah, or some you miss 100% of the shots you can take. Yeah, that was his
Something like
dad.
that.
His dad said that. His dad. Yeah. Okay.
Great. So we've started talking a little bit of what is needed for a professional package.
Yeah.
Is submitting a cover letter still necessary?
Yeah, absolutely. You like, you know, you can't just send an IMDb link. What, you know, or just a bunch of links that are just unannounced. Yeah, it's just you still have to have, you know, work within the professional world, right? So, you know, a brief introduction as to who you are, why you like this agency, maybe throw in a joke, try to be charming or whatever, be humorous. And it's just really just the introduction to it. And if you don't have that, it's, I don't know, it just lessens your chances.
Awesome. And when creating an actor's resume, what are some of the like major mistakes that you see on there?
Oh yeah, the major mistakes are wrong format because it's kind of written in this like 3-column kind of thing so that when they turn it over, they can kind of see right away where you are in your career. So that's the first thing. Second thing is they don't know what an acting resume or an actor resume is or what it looks like. So that's another, so they submit their real world resume and that's non-applicable. And then another thing is to put wrong data on there. So some people are like, yeah, I do knitting, you know, and it's like, okay, great. But, and then other times people put background work on there and that's not something you want to put on there either.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How important is it getting high quality actor headshots?
Oh, it's essential. Yeah, you can't have cheap headshots. That's just, yeah. You know what it reminds me of like when I was a kid and like somebody was like, oh yeah, hey, I'm starting my own business. And they had this printer, you know, and then you had these like business cards that had this, like you would rip them off and they had little perforated edges. And they'd made them at home and they're like, ah, here's my card. And then you get this card and you're like, oh man, how good at business are you if you can't even buy a business card? Do you know what I mean? And so the same thing with the headshot is if you don't have a really high quality headshot, you know, and you don't have to go spend $800 on headshots, but there is a minimum standard that you have to adhere to. And often people are like, oh, well, I got a friend who did it, you know, and I'm like, you can tell, you know, you don't want to stand out for something negative, like, oh, I didn't invest in the proper promo piece. So now, you know, I don't, you know, I just have bad headshots. And, you know, people usually do it because they want to save like $100 or something. But in the long run, you have to just get all new headshots again. So there's a lot of shooters in town that we refer people to, depending on your budget. You know, you can find people from like, you know, I think the lowest that we can find is maybe around 225, 250. And then of course you can go all the way up to like $800. And I don't recommend that at all for anybody ever, because I think that's way too much money. But yeah, there's lots of shooters here that you can get for, you know, around $300 to $400, and that you got to get good pro headshots. Yeah.
And what kind of things do you tell your students when preparing for actor headshots?
Right. So look like them. You'd be surprised how many people get headshots and they're like, oh yeah, look, I look really great. And and then, you know, they go to the audition and you're like, oh, this doesn't even look like you. That's one thing. A lot of like too much photoshopping. That's another thing, you know, like, you know, I'm a middle-aged guy, but I don't want to look like I'm 22 in my photos, you know, so you got to make sure that you know, it's age reflective. And then of course, what type of roles are you going to go for? So everybody has like a bracket that they're in. So, you know, if you're a big, heavy guy, you're not going to get photos where you look like a track star because you're just never going to get cast in those roles. So you have to have headshots that are reflective of that. You know, let's say if I was, you know, a bodybuilder, and I was in really great shape, well, I'm not going to, you know, find some pictures where I look like a slob or a homeless guy because I just look too healthy and athletic. So those are kind of like things that people have done to, you know, what they think they would like to play, but that's really not how casting is going to see them. And so you have to get pictures that look like you and in the roles that you're going to be cast as. And that is actually a really challenging thing because sometimes you're like, oh, well, I don't know what I'm going to go for. I know what I'd like to go for, but casting has their own vision of you. And it isn't until you start meeting the casting directors and start getting into the circuit do they learn who you are. And so that's, it's a bit of a catch-22.
That's some great advice. And how often do actors need to get headshots? Update their headshots?
Yeah, well, if you're a man, it's like every 3 to 4 years or every inch of hair loss. And and then for women, because the fashions change way quicker, you know, maybe every 18 months, you know, every 2 years, because their hairstyles and colors, they change, you know, and ladies like to be current with their hairstyles and looks and stuff like that. So they really want to have something that's contemporary and stuff like that. So that's usually for the ladies, it's a little more frequent.
Oh, interesting. How can you actors find reputable headshot photographers?
Just give us a call at the agency or at the studio. There's so many to choose from, and finding somebody who you connect with is really important, who you feel safe in front of, who you feel good in front of, who is within your budget. You know, we don't really tell people who to go to, but if there's somebody out there who we really feel doesn't do a good job, we'll let you know who not to go to, if that makes sense. You know, I'll be like, maybe choose out of these 3 other people. But there's so many, and there's so many do such good work. It's really hard for us to favor anyone, and it's all up to you as an individual. But again, I'll just kind of steer you away from making a mistake and going with the wrong person.
Great. Well, we've already chatted a little bit about cover letters, resumes, headshots.
Yep.
So why don't we start talking a little bit about demo reels? So when creating demo reels,
Yep.
what kind of scenes should the actor be looking to do, and how long should the scene be?
Okay, so a demo reel, when you're like, and this is for pursuing, there's so many different versions of demo reel. Like I have a demo reel, which is a collection of all my studio and network work. And it's like a little montage of all my scenes. And that's what I need as an actor with my experience as a demo. But when you're searching for an agent, there's no way that you can get that because you just haven't been auditioning. So you can't have that. So you create a little audition style demo reel, which is basically 2 scenes which are contrasting, and they should be about a minute, maybe a minute and a half long each. So your demo reel should be 2 to 3 minutes, and it's just a little teaser, a taster. And they should be like, say, if I'm going to do something from Hallmark, and then I'll do something from Sci-Fi. You know, is this something contrasting? Or maybe I'm going to do something from you know, a movie and then maybe something from a comedy. And be very careful not to pick really famous performances that everybody knows. You know, like I had a guy come in and he was like, yeah, I'm going to do this Al Pacino monologue. And I'm like, okay. And he did it just like Al Pacino did it. So he basically did an impression of Al Pacino, which is not good. And of course, everybody is comparing him to Al Pacino, which is you know, really hard, you know, nobody wants to be compared to Al. And so it was just kind of, it behooved him, you know, and I was like, maybe you should do something maybe from Degrassi Junior High or something, you know, a little more young, a little more kind of like teen concepts, you know. And he was like, no, I want to do this. And I'm like, great, you know, and unfortunately it took him that much longer to get an agent. And so you have to pick scripts that are something that you're going to get cast as, you know, so that's really important. And they should be short. They don't have to be, you know, a 3-minute scene. It's just basically 2 1-minute scenes is plenty.
So you mentioned a little bit about a monologue. Can a monologue be used as a clip for a demo reel?
Yes, but no. I mean, you can use it, but normally nobody wants a monologue. That's something from yesteryear, from like auditioning from the theater. What they want to see is you in a close-up, doing a scene, interacting with someone that would be reflective of an audition. Because that's what they're going to do. They're going to ask you, they're going to send you a set of sides, they're going to send you a script and say, you have an audition for this show. Let's see it. And you're going to have to go and create that. And, you know, and monologuing is very different than doing a scene. And they want to see scenes because that's what the industry demands.
Right. And are there certain kinds of scenes that you would suggest avoiding when creating a demo reel?
Yeah, ones that have, yeah, like ones that are from really famous movies, ones that are completely off type, and ones that have like a lot of physical activity. So if you're doing a fight scene or something, just stay away from that, or like running, you know, or, you know, just, or like, yeah, a love scene where you're like kissing someone, just anything that has a lot of physicality, you know, I would stay away from that as well. And things, you know, it's funny though, sometimes, you know, with newer actors, they're like, I want to really show somebody I can really act. And then they, you know, they send in the demo reel, and the scene's called crying demo, you know, and somebody's like for a whole minute, you know, and if you're watching that after the first 10 seconds, you're like, yeah, okay, I get it. So, you know, it does have to have an emotional journey, an emotional arc. So just don't play something where you're just crying the whole way through. No.
Right. And what is the best way to submit headshots and demo reels to an agent?
Yeah, so you want to create an email. Yeah, people are really big on emails now. They don't really do the whole mailing in and dropping it off at the agency anymore. They just want emails. And then when you send the cover letter should be in the email, the headshot should be in the email, and the demo reel should be a link. And the link should be to like Vimeo, YouTube, Dropbox, something where you can just click on it and it'll play. They won't download it because there's so many viruses and other strange things that kind of come through people, and they have to download it. So they just want to click on a link, and, you know, YouTube, Vimeo, Dropbox. You know, I know that YouTube and Vimeo, or sorry, Dropbox are free. So you can just click on that. And also those things are used by casting. They send that to the network and the director and the producer. They compile everything into a Dropbox file so that they just click it, and it's just like boom, 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 there it is. So they could just watch it on their phone, or they can watch it on their tablet. You know, they could be on set or wherever they are, and they can just quickly see it. So Dropbox is free too, so why not? You know, so that's definitely how you send those things. It's very important because you don't want to send it to an agency and then them not open it or download it because they don't want to download your material. You want them to watch it. So you want to make it as easy as possible. No password protection, no monetization on the YouTube, because no one's like, I've literally heard of casting getting like reels submitted to them, and then there's like some pop-up for like Expedia, come on to Dream, and they're just like, next. They just won't waste the 6 seconds. They just, or it's password protected, and they're in the session casting. They have to call the agent to then call you, and then, you know, as if you're going to be available 100% of the time, you know, and it may take a half an hour, and by that time the session might be over and they've already made the decision. So you've put yourself out of the casting process by password protecting or monetization. So just keep it super simple.
That's really great advice, Simon. So we've talked a bit about training, a little bit about putting together your professional package.
Yeah.
And what about connecting with agents or agencies? So, what are some things actors should take into consideration when researching agencies?
Yeah, there's so many variables in that. The first thing that's most important is that you have to find somebody who's excited about you, who wants to work with you. So, and that could be anybody. And especially when you first start out, if there's somebody who's willing to work with you, I would strongly consider going with them. Now, a lot of people get their ego involved and they say, oh, well, I only want to work with one of the top 5 agencies, the big agencies. And one, it's really hard for new people to get into those places. Second of all, it's bigger is not always better, because those agencies, like if we picked, I'm with an agency called Characters, and I don't know how many agents are in there now, maybe 10. And let's say each one has 75 people on their roster. Well, that's 750 actors that I'm one of. Whereas if you went to a smaller agency, that agent may only have 40, 50, 60 people. So I'm 1 in 60. So there's definitely a lot more, attention that you're going to get. And also, when you first start out, you're a developmental performer. So there's a lot of things that you're going to kind of encounter that you're like, oh, hey, what does this mean? And the agent has to kind of like get in touch with you and say, hey, this is what's happening. This is what you need to do. This is how you upload this, or did you confirm for that? And they have to kind of chase you a little bit to make sure that everything's up to snuff. Whereas in the bigger agencies, they may not have the time to do that, and you may miss out on opportunities. So, but ultimately, there's a list of questions you should be asking them, like, hey, where do you see me fitting in on your roster? Do you have anybody like me? How long you been doing this? What did you do before this? What's your favorite part about being an agent? Just like simple kind of questions you can find on the internet about doing interviews. But ultimately, having somebody be excited about working with you is the number one thing, because when they're excited about it, then you can get excited. But if they're kind of like, meh, as the kids say, meh, then, you don't want that. You want somebody who's like, yes, I want to work with you. So that's the number one thing. Somebody who's excited. Yeah.
Awesome. And what kind of fees do agents charge to sign with them? How long does an agent contract last? And can an actor break an agent's contract?
Okay, so there's 3 questions, and this is going to be my last question before I answer questions from the gallery here. So agents charge 15% on the work that you get. Okay, they don't charge any upfront fees. There's no fees. They should not be asking for fees at all, ever. So once you book a job, they get 15% of that. What was the
second question is, how long does an agent contract last?
Yeah, so most agents will ask for a 1-year contract. And I think that's pretty standard. They need to work with you for about a year. And I think a year is a good amount of time for them to kind of like see how casting likes you, where they're starting to see you fit in. They're going to take their time working with you. And if somebody comes in and says, oh, I'm going to work with you, and, oh, I've been with you for 4 months and blah, 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 I'm going to leave. That's pretty disappointing for an agent, because in those 4 months, they're really pushing to get you into the audition room and get you some appointments and stuff. So everything is really, they really have to kind of lift you up and put you into the business. So a 1-year contract, I think, is really like the minimum. And I think that's, for you as a performer, you should at least be thinking for at least a year. And then can you break a contract? Yeah, for sure. They're not written in blood. So if you decide to leave after, 9 months or 4 months or however long, for whatever reason, you can totally break that contract. It's not a big deal.
Right. And how much time should you, give? Like, how much notice should you give if you want to break a contract?
Yeah, you don't really have to give any notice, but there usually is a clause that for about 30 days that if you booked anything that agent got you for the next 30 days, that they get the commission for it and not the new agent. Then it's same with overtime or any of those other things. So, okay, let's go on. Let's go on
All
to
right.
our questions here.
We see there's a bunch of questions that have come in.
Already?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So we'll take a look. Ba-ba-da. starting here, how do we know what makes a good agent? Who are the good ones?
Okay, yeah, Scott, that is a really good question. So so you have to, first thing you'd say, have to be licensed as an agent. And so you have to have a license. That's the first thing that you know if your agent is legitimate. The second thing is your agent has to have the breakdown services. They have to have a subscription to that. If they don't have the breakdown or subscription to breakdown, then they won't be getting the audition notifications and they won't be able to submit you. And it's really, oh man, it's so subjective who's good and who's not. I've had some great agents in my time, and I've also had some really uncool people. All of them got me auditions. All of them, set up things. But some people I just connected more with than others, and I felt really kind of understood who I was and where I was coming from and what I wanted. And others were just like, yeah, cool. I got another audition for you, and they were just straight business. So it's really subjective. It's really subjective. Like, I know some of the smaller agencies that have been around for a really long time, and some people have been with them for like 25 years. Some actors never left, loved their agent. Other people, with that same agent, were with them for 2 years, were totally unhappy, and then they moved on to somebody else. So it's super subjective, and it's super nebulous. There's no way I can answer that. But if you get contacted by an agent and you're like, hey, I don't know what this person's like, you can give us a call and we can tell you who the bad people are. Or the people who aren't licensed or non-reputable or anything like that, who just basically won't get you an audition. Yeah, we'll tell you that. But everybody else, it's all good, man. If you can get an agent, it'd be good. Okay, so next question. Hope that helps.
Artist event.
Everyone, okay.
We see a question here, even for the kids.
What does that mean? For kids?
Well, I am guessing it's related to the training side of things as well as the professional package. Yeah, I guess it works the same as if you're.
Oh, if you're a kid and you need a pro package, yeah, you need a pro package if you're a kid too. Yeah. Yes, Scott?
She later says she's looking for her 9-year-old daughter for acting and asks where she should start.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay, we'll get there soon.
Was
We have
scrolling
one
down.
there. Are all the classes at VADA in person or on Zoom? So all of our classes are in person.
In person.
You're in our school in Vancouver.
Can you send a cover letter in the body of the email? Yes, that's preferred. That's actually the way it should be done. Oh, look at that Sky. He's already on it. I went to Shimon as well, and he's brilliant. Yeah, Mike, you got great headshots, buddy. But then, he's pretty good. Yeah, look at Scott. He went there too. Look at that guy. Look at that picture. Is that his picture right there? I bet it is. Handsome fella. Okay. Yeah, he's like, that's what I do. Just looking good. Do you have to have a slate in your demo reel? That's a really good question. No, I wouldn't put that in my demo reel. Slating is basically something that casting asks for, because when they're auditioning people, let's say I'm looking for surfers, and all the surfer guys come in and they all if I'm looking for a surfer, they're all going to be kind of the same, slender build, kind of windswept hair, sun-kissed, tan, and they're all, and they're all going to kind of look the same. So that's why they want a slate, because they want to be able to identify and differentiate each person. Same with, like, if I had bikers, they'd all be like, beards and tattoos and leather, so I need to know who's who. And that's why they want a slate. But when you're just submitting a reel to an agent, I got your picture, I got your resume, I see your demo. I don't need a slate. I don't think that's necessary. Yeah. Okay, Sky's got some there in his Dropbox. Yeah. What the hell? Seriously Pro. Boom. Look at that. How should you get opportunities or auditions from a decent agent? Okay, Scott, how often should I be auditioning? Okay, good question. So I I think you should be auditioning between 2 to 5 times a month. If you're with a really good agency and you're a good actor. And that waxes and wanes. Sometimes I can have 3 auditions in 1 week, and then the next 2 weeks I'll get nothing. And then the 4th week I'll get 3 more. So you never know what's up. It is just like, and then some shows just love you and they're just trying to get you on the show. Recently, I've been auditioning for the show called Tracker, and I've had like 4 auditions for it. I haven't booked anything yet, but they keep bringing me back. And so they're trying to get me on that show. That's why they keep auditioning me. They're like, we like this guy. We like this guy's look. We like what he's about. Let's try to get him on this show. They haven't been able to get me a role yet, but it's that's just so that one show is just really hot for me right now. Another one is like Animal Control, which is kind of like this kind of quirky comedy show. I've had a bunch of auditions for that as well. But like this week I had none, nothing. And the other week I had an audition, and then the other week I had a commercial audition in person, which was kind of cool. So for someone like yourself, which I'm assuming is non-union, you'd probably start out doing a lot of commercials, doing commercial auditions, and then working your way into film and TV. But it all takes time to build up your reputation as a performer, and then for them to kind of see you like, oh yeah, Scott, I see that guy. Yeah, I recognize him. Oh yeah, he was really good in the last audition, so we're going to bring him in again, and stuff like that. And of course, if you start auditioning before you're ready, they go, oh wow, I saw that guy. He's not very good. I don't think I'll see him again for a few more months. I mean, hopefully he'll be better, So you got to be ready. That's a really important part, is like to be ready. Okay, next question.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we missed one. Okay.
There.
What are some of the music auditions stand out from others? Oh, that's really good, Josh. Okay, do all agencies have access to upcoming films? Okay, so that was an ace. Yes. If you're on the Breakdown, you have a subscription to Breakdown, then yes, you have access to all the auditions. All agencies have access to the same thing. It's kind of like a laundry line. Like that drawing line you used to have, and then basically the casting director puts the notice up and everybody gets to see it and they all get to submit, so who's seeing what. So yeah, everybody gets the same things. What are some things that make an audition stand out from others? Okay, so there's that's a really good question. There's a couple things. You can stand out for the wrong reasons by having a really poor quality audition tape, so bad lighting, bad sound, bad backdrop. Scene 1 where this girl was like, oh yeah, I'm just going to quickly do my audition. And she was like in her car, and she just basically, she didn't even have a reader. And I mean, talk about standing out for the wrong reasons. So the right reasons are basically good quality product, good lighting, good sound, good video, but also your performance has to be authentic and sincere and real and grounded. And, that's really something that's kind of challenging for everybody, because a lot of people get disconnected or they get introverted or self-conscious when they're acting, because they're like, oh, I'm on camera and I really want to get this part. No, I really want to do a good job. And then sometimes we just get kind of bunged up on that. So that's something that's kind of something that kind of can hinder you. But ultimately, just really doing authentic, connected work, because acting from a place of vulnerability, acting from a place of authenticity makes you relatable to the audience. You see, if I'm Mr. Perfect and everything I do is like a veneer or nobody relates to me. The thing is, your strongest strengths or your biggest strengths are your weaknesses, because people relate to the weaknesses. They don't relate to your Mr. Perfect. Okay, so always put in something of your own vulnerability, because that makes you human, and that's what makes us connect to you through this medium called television, film. Yeah. Okay, so next one. I'm looking for my 9-year-old daughter for acting. Where should I start? You should start in our kids classes and learning how to be creative and playful. And there's so many things you got to know, like, hey, your kid's in the audition and they're like doing this, like, oh no, Timmy or Jenny, you have to hold the product like this. So just even knowing how to hold the toy that they're auditioning for is like those kind of little tips and tricks are kind of have to be taught. Also, like how to audition and what types of auditionings am I going to? Am I going to go to film and TV or commercials? And what's the difference between the two? Because commercials are usually big and theatrical, high paced, high energy, where film and TV is usually like, can I help you? You know, it's really a lot more still. So finding those differences and stuff like that. But if you call the studio and ask for Graham, he'll definitely help you find some starting points there. All right. Do you need a demo to apply to an agency? Yes. Yeah, that's standard now. If you don't have a demo, you have to have one because that's the first thing they're going to ask for. They're like, hey, I like your look. I like your resume. Do you have a demo? And if you don't, then they can't see you act. They want to see you act on camera. What do you sound like? What's your energy like? You know, you can't get that from a picture. So yeah, you definitely need a demo reel. When do we know we're ready for auditions or even an agency? Will you prep us? Yes. You have to develop your skills, Scott. So it's, you know, honestly, you come into the 2-week intensive. By the end of the 2-week intensive, I think personally, from my experience, that most people will be ready for small actor roles. Like no problem. You'll know how to do 1, 2, 3 liners. No problem. No problem. Cops, firefighters, doctor, whatever. If you have just a couple lines, you'll definitely be able to do that. But it's impossible for me to tell right now. You know, it's like some people it takes years. Some people, they get it really quickly. You know, there's Sky over there. He's already auditioning for big, you know, supporting roles in movies of the week. So God bless you, Sky. Yeah. You know, guy's just a goddamn tornado of talent, you know? All right. So next one. Right. Has Mr. Longmore ever introduced any professional students to top talent acting agencies? Yes, I do that all the time. Every day. All the time, brother. That's standard issue. That's my job. My job is to get you into agencies. Can you make a demo reel for me? Yep. Absolutely, Scott. Just call me and we'll set up a time and I will make that for you. Is it better to live in Vancouver or in LA for acting? That's a really good question. Now, I've lived in both cities, and I would say that to start as a performer, living in Vancouver is way better than LA. LA has, I think, 14 million people in it, which is unbelievable. And people come from all over the world to pursue acting there. And yeah, they may have more shows. Yeah, they may have more casting directors. But compared to Vancouver, Vancouver has what, like 8, 9 casting directors for film and TV. And how many shows are being shot here? Like 50 shows. What you need to do is, if you want to really pursue this, is build up your resume here in Vancouver. Get some credits, get a real demo reel full of your film and TV work, and then start going down for like pilot season. I don't know if they really have a pilot season anymore, but start going down for 3 months, getting a representation there and trying to see if you can get some auditions, then come back to Vancouver, continue doing the work. Now, one of the great benefits now is like if you get an audition, you can self-tape and send it up from LA. But I would definitely say that to start, being in Vancouver is the way to go. But definitely LA, once you've gotten some credentials and stuff like that, which you're going to need for your visa anyway, you can definitely start going down to LA to get some stuff. But it's a lot bigger market down there, so it takes longer to get known. Whereas in Vancouver, you can get known within 18 months, 2 years. And LA, you know, you're going to be like 3 to 5 years to get known by the casting directors and then start working and stuff like that. Yeah. All right. Let's see what our next question is. What is it?
This one, do you need a US work permit to work in LA, or is it enough to get a representation there?
Oh yeah, you have to have what's called a work permit, which is called an O1, which is an alien of extraordinary ability, which I am. Yeah. I actually had an O1. It was good for 3 years, and you could work on in the movie business down there. There's obviously one that goes beyond that, which is the green card. And once you get that, you know, that's I think you got to stay there for 5 years, and then after 5 years, you emigrate there and stuff like that. So, but yeah, you definitely need a visa. If you don't have a visa, you most likely will not get hired. Most likely, I'm talking like 99% of the time, unless you're that one person that's super special, that the production company will pay for your visa. But even if they pay for your visa, you can only work on that one production. So there's all these kind of like, you know, restrictions on that. So again, get your credentials up here, get 10, 12 credits. And then if you really want to work in the US, you can apply for an O1, good for 3 years, and you can bounce between the two. But definitely, I think, I mean, honestly, like if you're tired or you felt you've worked your way out of Vancouver, go to Toronto. Because you don't have problems with like US credit, which is something that nobody talks about. Like you can't even rent an apartment until you get a US credit and a credit rating. And then, you know, there's like, you know, your phone, you know, it's just, you know, there's you can't get like hydro or electricity. It's so weird, and you can't get a bank account unless you got a visa. So there's all these restrictions that are put in there. So you definitely just get your credentials here and then go down legally. It's the way to go, because anything else is just your vacation. Okay, what
You say
else we
we're
got?
doing the last 3 questions?
We want to do the last 3? Okay. How do you decide when to act like yourself versus putting on a character nothing like yourself for an audition or landed role? Okay, that's a really, Sky, that is so deep. Okay, so the thing is, what is it that makes a character, right? So a character, the way they walk, the way they talk, how they dress, but ultimately it's the actions they take that defines who you are. So Sky is naturally charming, funny, upbeat, positive. Now that's kind of like Sky. That's who you are, right? Now, if you want to play a character that's a little darker, like the thing we auditioned for, you have to start to like find those character actions, those actions of the character, which are like dark, sinister, tormenting, and stuff like that. And then, of course, if you put on a leather jacket and all those other things that kind of help you feel darker and kind of maybe get a little more connected to being a darker character. And so the character always kind of lives through you. You know, it's not kind of like something you put on, but it lives through you. And ultimately, it's the actions that you take that define who you are. Far out. That's a really good question. Thanks for that, buddy. All right. I'm currently in a TV series as a cop. It's background, but I've just been told by the first AD that they like my look and they want me in the show. Maybe there's a line or two. Congrats, Scott. That's like winning the lottery, bro. Well done. I hope you get many episodes and many lines, my friend.
Yeah, it was quite something. I was in there with 20 other actual union background actors. I didn't know that some background actors, that's their career. That's all they're going to do.
Yeah.
And literally within the first 10 minutes of being there, not knowing what the hell I was doing, dressed up as a cop with all the gear on, the gun belt and everything, the first AD said, "Come with me." They took me straight onto set, and they actually sat me down in a scene with James Cromwell, Rousseff Sutherland, and there's another actor, I can't remember his name, and they're talking to me, but I'm not allowed to talk. I can't say a word, and I'm just like, you know, doing all this, totally overacting, I'm sure, but it was a wonderful experience, and it's going to be in the show, and they've called me back. I've got 2 more dates. This will be my my 3rd and 4th visit, and it's been picked up by Fox. It's been picked up by Global, and it's filming here on the Sunshine Coast. So that's super cool. I mean, I'm pumped. I don't want to be a background specialist, but what a great way to enter the scene.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's great, man. I hope you get your dialogue in there, and I hope that you you can be called an actor and not a background guy, and be free to talk to James about how tall he is and all that other good stuff, you know, like
Yeah, James is crazy tall. He's massive, as you well
yeah,
know, I'm sure.
yeah, he's a very
It's,
tall man. And you know what, man, that's awesome. You know, that's kind of like really what everybody in the background is hoping for, you know.
Yeah.
you know, and that upgrade and stuff like that. And it is super rare, but
Yeah.
you know, congrats.
That's what I've been told. Everyone's been really supportive though. Like
Yeah.
I can't believe how nice everyone is. And I've heard that, you know, it's not always that way.
Nope. Oh, it's
But
not.
lighting, directing, background, catering, it's like we're one big family. So I hope this experience continues on. I'm sure it won't from what I'm hearing, but hey, you know
Well,
what?
I hope
Maybe there's a
I hope it
shift.
does, man. I hope
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
the golden key that can just open this up for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm
Yeah,
still coming
okay.
to do the 2 week, you know.
Yeah, yeah, definitely come and do that. Okay, so what's our next question here?
My
How do I
daughter for
prepare my daughter to go for that? Which is that?
auditions?
Oh, auditions.
Guessing.
Depending on how old you're, you know, you should take a class. You should take the class and learn how to act, which is what's a lot of other parents have come and done. They've come and they've taken, what is it, Sigrid?
We have a spring or summer break camps.
Yeah, that's
and-
for the kids. But if you want to prepare your daughter, depending on how old they are,
Oh.
you can come and take like the intro to acting or the
Oh,
2 week
yeah, yeah.
intensive, and then you can learn like, oh, this is how you do an audition, or this is how you do a scene, or this is how you do this. So that's basically what my suggestion would be, is just, and we have had parents do that. They're just like, yeah, my kid is totally passionate about this and I have to be their reader and I don't know what I'm doing. You know, what do I do? And you watch a few videos online and those are somewhat helpful, but then you kind of hit the wall. So either put your kid in acting or you yourself take it, which then you're going to become their coach, which I think would be, you know, pretty helpful. All right. Are most auditions video as opposed to in person? Yes. Most auditions nowadays are self-tapes. However, callbacks are now becoming more and more frequent as in person. And I think that's great. And then some casting directors do offer audition, like an audition space, and they offer the ability to go in and work with a reader in an audition space. So they rent something from Studio 3 Media or Shoreline Studios and say, yeah, you come in at this time and there'll be somebody there to make the tape with you. But it usually isn't the casting director, which is, in the old days before COVID, they used to have the casting director in the room and they would read with you and they would redirect you, trying to say, oh yeah, more like this, more like that, you know, so that you know, get a better direction as to where the role needs to go. So most today are on self-tape. Okay. What are your tips for keeping the passion alive? Yes, and not burning out from audition training fatigue. Yeah. Okay, I'll tell you honestly, like I have trained for probably, I took about 18 years worth of training. And one of the things I started to do was find my love for other things. And one of the things I love is motorcycling. I love motorcycling. And, you know, you'd be surprised that, you know, I used to live in LA, as I told you earlier, but, you know, there you can ride your motorcycle like 11 months out of the year. And through that motorcycling, that passion for motorcycling, I met other motorcycle enthusiasts. And it turns out that two of my new motorcycle friends are actually movie producers. And when we take the students down to LA, they always come in and talk to the students and stuff like that. And one of them is most recently working on, what was that new Tulsa King with Stallone? Yeah, he was producing on that show. And you know, he comes out of his day of work, he sits down with the students and like auditions them and talks to them. And so I found some other passion in my life. And I find that when you rehabilitate that passion for something else, it kind of bleeds into the acting, because you can't just act all the time. It can get a little overwhelming. And then sometimes other things like other creative things like cooking. Like I like to barbecue. I love barbecue. I love smoking food and stuff like that. And my family loves it too. So that's another passion and stuff too. And also it just, I don't know, man, it just opens other things. Sometimes you just need to take a step back from the training and all that other stuff and just find something else that you're passionate about. And I find that it just invigorates what like one of the reasons why you became an actor. It just helps rehabilitate that. Okay, what else we got here?
Can you succeed in being a main role while doing background?
Can you succeed in being main? I don't know what that means. Can you get a role and be in the background? Diana, I think you might help me.
Yes, I mean, Simon, sorry that I mean, if you're in background, is there any chance that you can become main eventually?
You know what, Diane? I highly doubt it, to be honest. I'll be totally straight. It's highly unlikely. I've actually never heard of anybody who has been upgraded to a guest star or anything like that out of the background. I do know people who have been upgraded, kind of like Scott. They were like a cop or whatever. They got a couple lines here, or a waitress or a waiter or bartender or something like that. But it's really rare that somebody from the background gets a role. Like, I actually personally do not know of anybody that's happened where they're like, oh, hey, I do know one woman who was one of my students who owned a coffee truck, and used to go onto set and serve like mochas and cappuccinos and stuff like that. And the directors and the producers would come over and say, oh yeah, I want to double shot this or that. And she'd be like, oh, hey, how you doing? What are you doing on the show? And the guy's like, oh, I'm the director. And so she got an opportunity to kind of talk to these people. And during that time, she's like, oh yeah, I'm an actress. And so in her job as a coffee truck owner, coffee maker, she got that opportunity to have that exchange with those higher ups. Whereas if you're in the background, you're usually kind of kept all the way over in holding, and then you're brought onto set, and then, they're usually just working at that time. So it's really hard to kind of create a relationship with somebody or let them know that, hey, I'm an actress, and I can do this role, blah, blah, blah. So it's very hard to do that. Now, back to the coffee truck woman. They were shooting something and she had the script, or so, I don't know, she had the sides that day, and she asked the guy, hey, can I audition for this? And the director was like, you're an actor? And she's like, yeah, I'm an actor. He's like, okay. He brings the AD over and he's like, you go over there in the corner and record her, see if she can act. And he literally said, okay, let's see it right now. So she got the script and she went off into like a little dark area of the set or whatever, and quiet area. And the AD with his phone filmed her, and she ended up getting the role. It was incredible. Yeah. But what happened was the casting director who cast that show heard about it and got super angry about it because she felt that she'd been bypassed. And that casting director never saw her again for another audition. So I'm like, damned if you do and damned if you don't. You know what I mean? So I thought it was wonderful that she created that relationship. But I also think, being in the background, it's really hard to get kind of known and given that opportunity. So I personally don't know of anybody, and I think it's really difficult. So what you got to do is you got to go in through the front door, Diana. You got to be like, I'm an actor. I'm not going to graduate from the background. I'm going to go into the audition room. I'm going to have the audition. I'm going to get cast that way. And that's how I'm going to do it. So, and I support you in that choice, Diana. I believe in you. I know you. I've seen you. I've worked with you. God bless you. Okay, next. Okay, do you have any evening classes on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday? Yes, Mike, we have the PACE 2 class, so you can do that, brother. Come see us. If we receive a casting call, will you help us prepare for the audition? 100%. Just call the office, man. We'll set up a time, and I'll totally coach you on it. Does the quality of the line reader for self-tape scene partner matter for audition demo reels? Yes. Yes, it does. It's not supposed to, but if the other person that's off camera has a really thick accent or is really slow, or they're maybe a little over dramatic when they're acting off camera for you, that can take away from your performance. So yeah, the reader is supposed to be kind of like there, but not there. It's kind of like when you watch a movie and there's music and you're like, oh yeah. And it's only, you don't really recognize the music, but because it's part of the movie. But if the music was gone, you'd be like, oh man, it's missing something. Or if the music is really bad, you're like, wow, this music sucks. You know, it's one of those things where if it's wrong or if it's off or if it's bad, you notice it. But most of the time it's not supposed to be, you know, kind of there. So yeah, you got to be careful about what reader you have. They have to be on point, and they're about propping you up because you're on camera. It's your time to shine. So you got to have that proper stuff there. Okay. So that is my last question. So I'm going to kind of wrap up everything. And so just so you guys know, our secret special announcement is that, yeah, is that we are hosting a casting director workshop March 23rd with Catherine Falcon, who is a casting director here in town. She does a lot of movies. She also owns Studio 3 Media. She's a really wonderful person, wonderful casting director. She'd be great for you guys to see. If you're interested, you have to contact Gabby, and she'll help you with the registration or any other questions that you may have. And yeah, that's our special announcement. So basically, we'd love to see you all in that. And thank you so much for coming. We love you all. And
Thank you, sir.
yeah, it's welcome.
Thank you. Thank
It's
you.
really great to see everybody. And Himanji, I hope you feel better. And God, congrats on your potential.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I meant to send something. I don't know if everyone has our contact information. So I will be putting our email address and our phone number in the chat. So keep an eye out for that if you don't know what our contact information is, and feel free to reach out.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, if you guys need
I
anything else,
hope you have a good day.
yeah, if you need anything else, just give us a holler. And also, we're going to be doing
course.
another one on self-tapes. You know, like how to make like a really good self-tape and stuff like that. So I think everybody is really like wants some tips and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll do that. And so because your success is my success. All right. You guys are amazing. Here comes the phone number and the email. Thank you all so much. We look forward to hearing
Thank
from
you.
you again soon. Stay classy. And until
Nice
then,
to
my
see you.
friends, bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you.